Hey, everybody, and welcome to this live stream. You're looking at a live picture of the moonrise over Okanagan Lake in southern British Columbia. That is a rooftop security camera that we're accessing live in a neighborhood called La Casa Cottage Resorts. And that's north of West Kelowna and kind of opposite the side of the lake from Vernon, if you know where Vernon is. So my fine friend Christian Sasse is at that location where they have snow on the ground now. Boy, what a year for weather and just news throughout that region, from heat waves to forest fires and now snow. So why don't we go ahead and just see what Christian does with his magic on the camera here. And last night was the partial lunar eclipse. Hey, Ivani, nice to have you here. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for checking out this live stream. Yeah, so last night was the partial lunar eclipse, and Christian had been had traveled to this location near West Kelowna to photograph and shoot video of the partial lunar eclipse. He got there days in advance, many days. But the weather didn't cooperate. And then on top of that, there's been just severe rains. The Pineapple Express raced through here, it seemed, for quite some time, going around the track before leaving the area, going around the track a few times here. So there's been just a lot of flooding just north of here in Washington State, where I'm located, which is Snohomish, Washington. So here, as you go north into Skagit County and Whatcom County, right up into northern Washington State, and then very much so across the border into British Columbia, real severe flooding and mudslides. And in fact, Christian and I did some projects together over the summer during the wildfire threats from mainly the White Rock Lake wildfire, which came close to this camera and this home that we're looking at tonight, forced that neighborhood to evacuate a couple of times. So there was all of that, and now the main highway that Christian takes between this cottage that he owns and his primary home outside of Vancouver and Surrey, parts of the road, as I understand, have been washed away. Merritt, Hope, those towns up in the mountains on the Coquihalla Highway have just been severely impacted, and many of you might have been aware of what was going on in Abbotsford, just across the border from Washington State. With all the rain that we had, there was severe flooding and fearing. In fact, one of the, I think, 4 primary pipes failed in Abbotsford, and severe flooding and a major fire of concern. So, but tonight, the clear skies have returned. We have, at this moment, what appears to be an unobstructed look at the moon that has just risen. And again, the live picture here is from a security cam. And looks, hey, Christian says, very nice, Mark. So thank you so much, Christian. And if you want to follow Christian's channel and see this camera, it's off and on night and day. Check out his YouTube channel, Sasse Photo, just like it is in the live chat. And I've also put a courtesy at Sasse Photo in the description beneath this video. So you're more than welcome to find his channel name there and just look for his 24/7 or his live camera. It might have nature and wildlife in the title these days, because you get a bit of everything with this camera. You get the beautiful sunrises, you get these wonderful moonrises. And today what we saw for the first time on this camera was a wonderful postcard-like setting of that area with snow. And not just a dusting, but a bit more than a dusting, I would say. I don't know how many inches it was, but it was very nice. So yes, Ivani, I agree. Thank you to Christian. And it's good to hear that you're doing well, Ivani. That's wonderful. So I think what I'll do is just to kind of give you guys some perspective of where we're looking at. I want to do a little something here. Let's take this other camera. I'll take cam 4. Okay, so we're looking at Google Earth on my iPad. And let's go to the location just across the border from Washington State a bit. There's Okanagan Lake. And there's La Casa Cottages Resort. And that's Christian's neighborhood right there. And this is West Side Road. Whoops. This main road right here is West Side Road. And if you go into that neighborhood along the shores of the lake here, right? Christian's house is right up here on Terrazona. And there's a camera on a pole on the rooftop. Now, this camera that we're seeing this view from, what makes it quite remarkable is it's a PTZ camera, and it's on a post. So I don't know, maybe 30 inches, 36 inches high. And it can be remotely controlled. Christian's at the house. He's operating on the computer. I could do the same thing here. He's given me access. And it has, I think, a 42 times optical zoom. And it can go 360, so all the way around in a circle, 360 degrees. And really the impetus for getting this camera was the wildfire season. He wanted to know what was going on behind the house, and also not just behind to the west, but off to the north where the fire had been approaching earlier this year, the White Rock Lake wildfire. So, yeah. So I hope that was hopeful in terms of showing some of the logistics involved there. Thank you, Ivani. And let's go ahead and share this. So this stream, I'll put this out on Twitter. What's remarkable is just look how clear and crisp this security camera resolves the moon. I mean, that is, and it gets pretty tight on there too. Let's do some, I'm at Beyond 90 Seconds on Twitter, and I'm just putting together a tweet to help make people aware of this opportunity to see this. Okay, here we go. Wonderful. So you get a really good look at the snow that's in the area now. Again, no view there last night of the partial lunar eclipse. But as Murphy's Law would have it, the following evening provides clear enough skies to see the moon. That is Okanagan Lake. It is a long lake that runs north to south, left to right. We're kind of towards the northern end of it here. This location on this shoreline is technically still within, considered a West Kelowna address, but it's quite a bit north, a few kilometers north of West Kelowna, downtown anyway, if you will. And then across the lake there and off to the left is Vernon. And you can see there's a plane passing over the moon right now. One of the things Christian and I do with this camera is we'll zoom in tight on planes and follow them into the airport. But again, this camera, and here goes Christian right on cue. And so it using the software for this camera, you can actually get in pretty tight and resolve it with the focus. But it's not, you don't have a joystick. You kind of have to use some sliders and whatnot and adjust the speed on a slider. That's very nice, Christian. And you know what? I'll find out what aircraft that is. Hang on. Okay, I'll tell you what we're looking at there. Hang on. And I'll show you exactly what we're looking at there. This will be fun. Okay, we're on flight radar. There's the plane, I believe, that Christian is following right there. If I touch on that, we can bring up, this is an Air Canada Express from Vancouver to Kelowna. AC8276 is the flight. And it's a de Havilland Canada -8400. And it's going right over a little lake north of the West Kelowna International Airport. And you heard me right, international. And it's going right over West Kelowna Lake right now, and it's nearing the runway. So what happens is when the aircraft come in from the north, okay, now it's actually just made an adjustment here. It'll come into the airport this way typically. So and that's in West Kelowna, actually Kelowna itself. West Kelowna is across the lake. There's a bridge right here, which takes you into Kelowna proper, and that's where the airport is located. So that's what you're seeing right now is this plane right here. A de Havilland Canada Dash 8400. Well done, Christian. You're following that plane really well. Nice. We got some other aircraft in the area. Okay, so there we go. And you know that Christian will go back to the moon soon, but he's going to show you just, you'll see the flashing lights back there associated with the airport, the local ridge tops to alert pilots of the geography there. And soon that plane will disappear behind the ridge as it gets low and lands, because the runway is just out of view behind the ridge. So right now you can see those dark treetops. Very nice, Christian. You can see those dark. I'm doing airport play-by-play with Christian manning the controls. This is fantastic. So for those of you who just joined, we're looking at a live cam in southern British Columbia along Okanagan Lake. And we were watching the moonrise. If you came here because of the tweet, yeah, and I'm sure we'll go back to the moon in just a moment. But the sky, there it is. There's the plane just now going to disappear and land. And just like this, Christian will pull out here shortly, and he'll show us the moon. So there's Kelowna over there, and there's the lake in the distance. It's very long, and he's going to pan to the left, and he'll find the moon again, and we'll go back to that. And what's really remarkable is you're not just going to see the moon from this wide shot. This camera has a 42 times optical zoom. There's another plane, by the way, and Christian can really go tight on that moon if he wants to and show it just a really clear picture of the moon up close. It's amazing what these security cameras can do. Okay, the plane that's coming in right now is a Boeing 737-48E. It's also coming in from Vancouver. And now here's Christian going in on the moon, and he'll make some adjustments on the exposure. And you'll get a really nice look at the moon here. Thanks, Amy. Thank you, Ivani. British Columbia, I agree, Amy. It is beautiful. And so, yeah, here we are looking at the moon. Again, this is a camera on top of Christian's house, his cottage there. And Christian's staying in the area a bit longer than he expected. Yeah, he wanted to be there last night, certainly, but you can't get on the highway from there and travel west as he normally would to go home to Surrey, which is just outside of Vancouver. So basically, my equivalent, my comparison living here in Washington State, it'd be like me wanting to go to Yakima or Wenatchee or Lake Chelan. To do so from here near Puget Sound, we'd have to go east and up over the mountains and go down the other side into a totally different terrain. It's upper Sonoran Desert. It's not like the green trees everywhere here on the west side of the state. And very much the same for Christian. Look at the moon reflecting on the water there. So Christian's in that, he's basically north of central Washington State, north of Chelan and Manson and Bridgeport, those areas, and very much that type of desert, upper dry desert climate. Now, he would normally take what's referred to generally as the Coquihalla Highway to go west to go home, but you can't do that right now, as I understand it, due to the flooding and some of the mudslides and road closures. So he would actually have to travel, if he's going to drive, he'd have to go south into Washington State and find his way home coming through Washington State, so across the border. So he did share, and he's done some tweeting about when he went into West Kelowna to do some shopping yesterday. There were aisles where there was really nothing left on the shelves, but he tells me today that dairy and produce, things are returning, so that's really good. But that's a beautiful shot right there, isn't it? This is Fun Mark with all of you here. Well, thank you, Christian. You're doing a fantastic job. I was just thinking here, how would I bring you in? I could talk to you on Voxer and put you on the microphone. You can give me a yes or a no. If you want to talk to me a little bit, I can put you on Voxer and just hold you up to the mic. So what I'll figure out next time is how to bring your audio in. For those of you who don't know Voxer, okay, he says talk. It's all right. So I'm going to talk to Christian on this app. It's kind of hard because it's overexposed. Yeah, it's called Voxer, Voxer, and it's touch and talk, and then you'll hear him. So we'll just keep it close to the mic. Hey, Christian, thank you very much. You're doing a great job on the camera. It sounds like you've been listening in. I imagine there might be a thing or two you'd like to add. How are you doing? He's played the message, and now he'll respond here shortly.
Hi, Mark. I'm fine. I'm sorry for the delay. I just had to mute the volume that I was listening to you. Otherwise, we would have would have feedback. Thank you. It's very nice and it's wonderful. I'm actually seeing exactly what we're seeing when I look outside the window. So the view is as beautiful as it looks. Thank you.
You're welcome. Could you give a little bit of a overview of your camera? People might be really interested in this. And also, for the folks who are seeing this for the first time, how can they find your camera? How often would it be live? And what type of things do we see?
Yeah, of course, Mark. So Mark already explained it very nice. So the initial intent was just to sort of survey the area. We've had quite a heavy year. We've had 2 evacuations for wildfire. And then came now the flooding in Vancouver, which got me a bit isolated and so on. But it's for me, it's not serious. I mean, other people have been much worse affected. So I'm not saying anything. We've been very lucky. However, coming back to this camera, well, the initial intent was also to watch this beautiful osprey nest, which is not occupied at the moment, but some eagles come in, of course, to watch wildlife, right, together with everyone. And then I discovered that's not only wildlife. We can see moonrises and the beautiful area. So it's become fairly popular around here, just showing the beautiful nature. And as you can see at the moment, it's idyllic. Last night we had a lot of snow, so much so that it became cold that one of my outside water pipes burst, right? Those are things that if you live in Brazil or so, you would never hear of these things, but these things can happen, right? So yeah, it's really beautiful, and I am so much in love with the camera, and the possibilities that I'm actually going to put one in Australia. Yes, in Australia, and it's going to be a new type of camera that can look up into the sky. So we will be able to show you the beautiful southern sky during the day here, at least in North America during the day. So that's coming up in a few months. So I've got more plans for more cameras coming up soon.
That's fantastic, Christian. We'll look forward to that. And for people who don't know, Christian is the astronomer in charge for a company called iTelescope, and they're headquartered in Australia, but they have a presence in several places around the world. Wow, Christian, it's absolutely, in the comments here I'm reading, Amy Boado, I'm hoping I'm close there on one of those, Amy, had said, postcard-worthy photo right there with the moon reflection on the lake. I agree. Thank you so much, Amy. And look who's here, Kit. Kit is in the house in the YouTube chat, and she says, awesome. We love you, Kit. Kit and Christian and I have been friends socially online, and Christian has spent a lot of one-on-one time with, and Christian and his wife spent a lot of time with Kit, and just wonderful person from Redding, California. Nice to have you here, Kit. If you guys have any questions about what we're doing right now, this is all very spontaneous about Christian, his camera, the events to include the impact of the flooding, as well as the wildfires earlier this year. I mean, if it's maybe about equipment that we're using, don't hesitate to ask in the chat. Would love to take advantage of this opportunity. So just to kind of reset it here, Christian is in his home at this location that you're seeing. I say that because you may not know that he could also operate this camera from any place around the world with an internet. So he can operate it remotely, but he's there on site today, but he's enjoying the warmth inside of his home. It's not like prior to this year, whenever we wanted to do anything like this, it meant being outside, hunkering down underneath your tripod sometimes to try and follow something in the sky. But now we can do it so comfortably. And this almost feels like it's a luxury, isn't it, Christian?
Yes, absolutely wonderful. I mean, you have to have a look now of the moonlight. I mean, it almost looks like the sun, doesn't it? It looks so unreal. But you can see the reflection in the cloud, which I absolutely love. It's so exquisite. At the moment, it almost looks unreal. So we've got the perfect setting here. So I just had to quickly throw that in. Very nice to see Kit. Also very nice to see Ivani. And I think it was Amy. So welcome, everyone. And very nice for Mark to do this very spontaneous. So yeah, it's absolutely a postcard setting here. It really is.
And there goes another plane. Christian, what type of things, in addition to moonrises and sunrises, do you tend to feature on this camera? What variety does this camera offer?
To be honest, Mark, we don't yet know. We really don't yet know because we haven't had it for a whole year. The main purpose, of course, is wildlife, right? I mean, that's the prime purpose. This beautiful nest. I'll rotate the camera very quickly there for those of you who haven't seen it. We should be able to see the nest in the moonlight now. It's exquisite. Of course, sunrises. The planets, the planets. At the moment, the planets are not possible because Jupiter's rising too early. But when I have the camera installed in Australia, we'll be able to see kangaroos in the daytime, and at nighttime, I'll be pointing anywhere in the sky, really up, because this camera can't go higher than 20 degrees. It was never intended to do that. But that'll be doing that. And I might install another camera in Texas, by the way, because it got clear skies. I know someone in Texas, so I might be able to install one there too that points at the night sky. So that's going to be a new thing, not ever done before. Those are things I want to do. As far as this camera is concerned, let's be surprised and find out, Mark. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I know that if there's severe weather, people in that area anyway, Vernon, Kelowna, people who may be headed to that area, this is a great resource to get an idea of what the weather's like outdoors, especially during severe weather. The Northern Lights in October were absolutely spectacular from this location. What a treat that was. And Kit says she loves the kangaroos, so she'll look forward to that from Australia. You also have those parrots. I remember the parrots in Australia, so that'll be great to see if we see them, those wild parrots on the camera that you'll put there as well. It's such a really cool thing to have this. Let's just put it in perspective. With this camera right here, for example, just this one camera, you can stay warm and indoors. You can operate it remotely. You've had 40x2 optical zoom. You can share the night sky, so you've got day and night potential for things of interest. And personally, I think it's also like a Chamber of Commerce card for Southern British Columbia. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. And, you've given us some really good news updates this year from this location, Christian, regarding the wildfires, the White Rock Lake wildfire, and as well as some other local wildfires, and now about the weather and the availability of food. So and gas even, which I'm glad you were able to fill up your gas tank again today. So there's a lot of value here.
Yeah, it's very nice to see kids comment. By the way, I love the kangaroos. Yes, she does. I think that trip when I think Jamie, of course, her cousin and kid came to Australia was one of the best we've ever had there. That was in 2018, if I recall correctly. I think July 2018 was fantastic, and yeah, it was 2019, and then COVID came. Oh gosh, and now I'm going to start going to Australia again in. Probably, if everything goes right, end of March, it'll be the first one. And maybe Jamie can join in June, and maybe we'll get Kit to join again too. And, I'll get them some good, cheap accommodation and so on if they want to both come. But it's just a wonderful time there, right? And then stay a bit longer maybe. So it's, well, just thoughts. Yes, but as far as this camera is concerned, it's just out of this world. I mean, look what we're seeing now. Probably what I'm doing here is going into applications of PTZ cameras or security cameras that are not commonly. It was fabulous, wasn't it, Kit? Probably not commonly known, right? So they have used these type of security cameras. Or installed special cameras for wildlife. That has been done. You find that, but not so much for the night sky, and in the way it's being used now. Pointing upwards. They're not really made for pointing upwards. That's why the special camera that's just come out. Absolutely right, Kid. Very nice. Okay, that's nice. Look at that plane. It's going to go right through the. Yeah, it goes right through the. You see that it's going right through the moon. That was incredible. And if you look at, by the way, the Pleiades are just above the moon. I'm going to show you what the Pleiades is. Oh, they're beautiful. One sec.
Yeah, I was very much watching the plane approach. That was pretty cool. Christian, I'm going to share something real quick while you're setting up the Pleiades. I wanted to talk about the osprey nest. Christian referred to it earlier. That was the first point of interest, rather, that really got our attention once the camera was set up. I say it's Christian's camera, but we tend to spend a lot of time collaborating and brainstorming on ideas, and he gives me remote access to it. So that's where that use of the word "were" comes from. But what I would like to refer to is show you the general location of the osprey nest. So we're coming at this from the east, and we look across to the west. We can see Christian's neighborhood right here, and Christian's street is up here at the top of this slope, and the osprey nest is located over in this general direction, right in this general area right here. And Christian would be able to tell us how many meters it is. I can't remember whether it's 300 to 400 meters, but we can zoom in on it pretty tight. So again, the street right there with the camera on it, and the nest is just over in this direction. And the osprey have migrated. They're not there, but a pair of bald eagles has been spending a lot of time there. So we've been wondering whether the bald eagles will take over the nest. Let's see. Amy says, the moon rays on the lake are just getting more intense. Very beautiful. Look at that. That is spectacular. And now, let's see. Oh, Kit says, you are a great team. Thank you very much, Kit. I'm going to switch over to Flight Radar 24, and we'll listen to Christian, what he has, and I'll figure out what plane that is that's coming in from the left.
Yeah, Mark is the plane expert, obviously, as you know. So he figures out all these things. The remarkable thing is that Mark has figured out things, and he's never been here. I don't know when he was last in Canada, but it's been years and years and years ago. Yet he knows the area inside out. So much so when there were wildfires here, he used to guide me by car. It was remarkable. He used to tell me where to drive. He used to tell me what roads are clear. It was amazing. And Kit, you're right. We are an awesome team. It really is. It works incredibly well because Mark is very much an investigative reporter, and that side really shines. It really comes out. The light, absolutely, Amy, is exquisite now. It's a dream together with the with the silver lining on the clouds. It almost looks surrealistic. It's just fantastic. I see it on two monitors here. One big monitor that comes directly from the camera, with incredible resolution, and of course also the stream that you're seeing. It's just really crazy. And then of course I can look outside the window too, but I'm not shaking. I'm not moving too much because I'll just jump up and down a bit so you believe me that I'm really in the house. Watch this now. Okay, now wait, no, it doesn't even shake. You know what? It's not shaking because I'm not zoomed in. But if I'm zoomed in, the moon will start vibrating. But I'll leave that nonsense now.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because this is really good information. So sometimes when you watch this camera, you'll think, oh, it must be windy. Look at that camera shake. And it's when the camera zoomed in. That's absolutely true. But it's not always true that it's windy. If anybody is walking around inside that house, this camera will shake. Again, the camera is affixed to the top of a pole, about that big around, I would estimate. And I think that pole is probably about, Christian, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe 30 inches. And so when the house shakes, the pole shakes, which means the camera's going to shake a little bit. So oftentimes I'll know if I don't see the tree limbs blowing, I'll know when someone's walking around the house if there's anybody home. So anyhow, that's the background there. And look at Christian zooming in on the moon now. He's going to resolve this. Maybe, Christian, you can show us how tightly you can get on this. Now look at that. Look how sharp that is. And this can go in up to 42 times optical zoom. And I don't know if Christian's set up to do it tonight, but there's also a digital zoom feature within the software that will take you in even tighter, which means you'll start to lose more resolution, but you do get closer and you get more of a perspective on what things look like really close up. So yeah, let's see what Christian does here and what he might have to say.
Yeah, so I'm tightly zoomed in. I'll bring in the digital zoom in a moment, so I can really go on tight. However, the digital zoom won't be that great, Mark, because we are very low above the horizon, right? You're going to get a lot of atmospheric disturbances, right? So we're definitely going to see the air movement. However, I'm just going to demonstrate to you what a wooden house does. I'm just going to get up now. The vibration that you see at the moment is purely because of wind. It's not me. But now I'm going to get up and watch this now. Okay, there you go. The moon's vibrating. So that's just me getting up. And that's how sensitive it is. Now I'm sitting down again. But that's, yeah. I'm the only one in the house. So every time I move, you would know.
Yeah.
But if you had small children, which fortunately we don't have, it wouldn't be possible to show anything. You'd be dizzy.
Well, that was some great show and tell. You told us, and you definitely did a good job of showing us the impact of the movement when you're zoomed in like that. So nothing tells the story like the picture, as they say. Amy's cracking up. Gosh, this is nice to have you all in the chat. Really nice to have you along. It's so nice. This is all completely spontaneous. Oh, let's see what this plane is. Hang on. I got to bring up my software on my A10 Mini, and we're going to switch to camera 3 for the picture-in-picture. Oh, I want 4. Excuse me. There we go. Oh, look at that. Right by the moon. Very good, Christian. Right past the moon. All right. There's our aircraft. It's going from Vancouver. It looks like it's headed to Kelowna. Maybe not. Maybe it's going on further south to Penticton. Yeah, it's flying at 4,600 and some odd feet right now. Go ahead, Christian. I think you talked. Let me play your message. Just a moment.
Yeah, the plane took me a bit by surprise. I could have done better if I had been a bit better prepared, because the problem with the moon is you have to adjust the lighting and everything. So there's a lot of manual control that you have to do when you zoom in. And anyway, but we might get another opportunity because at the moment the moon is in a very good position. So when the planes come in, they fly in exactly at that altitude, as Mark can explain to you.
All right. There's our aircraft. It's going from Vancouver.
That was the message I just sent him a moment ago. Got it, Christian. Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, you could probably get some great shots, with these planes in front of the moon. And generally, when they're flying left to right, north to south, and if they're going to be landing down in Kelowna, they are usually around 5,000 feet at that point. Trust me, I've followed these things enough to know. So that works out really well. And let's go ahead and I do not see another plane coming in, but that was fun, wasn't it? Let's switch this back. All right. And I would not be surprised if, Christian's operating the camera. He oftentimes will get a phone call or...
Yeah, Mark, let me quickly turn to the nest so people can see the nest. Let's see if we can see it in the moonlight. I don't know if it's bright enough. Probably not yet, but let's give it a try.
Perfect. Go for it. And there's a plane coming in too. So Christian has just turned the camera to the right. He's now looking south. And looking south, the left to right, the landscape, the terrain rises, but wait till you see when he zooms in. And Christian, you'll have to remind me in a moment when you're done off the controls here. There's the nest, roughly how far that is away. But look at this. Now he's going to get an even better resolution here. Now when he gets him real tight, it does get dark, but if he wanted to play with the settings, he could actually lighten that up. But I don't know if we really want to do that at this time. It's up to Christian. But when the moonlight moves more in this direction as the moon travels tonight, that's going to be really helpful too. Yeah, that looks good, Christian. You did a nice move there. And I know he can actually get this sharper as well. And that's what he's going to work on. So no pressure, Christian. But this is a nest in the dark, you guys. And this camera is able to show that. So that's pretty darn cool, I think. And again, this is an osprey nest. Well, we've been calling it osprey nest. There were a pair of osprey in it this summer. They were raising some young ones that hatched this year. But in late June, there were 3 consecutive days of extremely hot temperatures, around 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just too intense for many young birds. And we don't think they survived. Now, the osprey adults did migrate. And as we mentioned earlier, there have been bald eagles spending time in that nest. So in recent weeks and days. So that's been really interesting to watch. We'll see how that unfolds. Wouldn't it be something if the bald eagles, have eggs there? Now, look, you can see the snow on the trees here. That's beautiful. And then the question becomes, if the eagles do lay eggs there, what was it first? Was it a bald eagle nest or an osprey nest? To me, it looks like an osprey nest, but who knows? I'm not an expert.
By the way, that's Jupiter up there that you're seeing there. So that's coming up. That's Jupiter, and Saturn should just be to the right. Let me just check. Yeah, there you go. That's the Jupiter and Saturn. I cannot zoom in there because they're too high. Too high. Too high to zoom in with this camera. But anyway, I think kids saw that. I did that. A couple of weeks ago, I was able to shoot Jupiter's moons and so on. But as I said, the camera in Australia will be able to do this.
Yeah, you said that pretty casually, but it's so impressive. Again, when Jupiter is lower in the sky, see, this camera can only tilt up, I can't remember, 30 degrees. Christian will correct me. So it can't go too high in the sky. But if Jupiter's lower in the sky, then Christian can zoom all the way in without losing it from the picture. It'll stay in the picture. And when he was able to do that, not only did we get a closer view of Jupiter, but we could make out 4 of Jupiter's moons on this rooftop security camera. So hard to see that with the naked eye, but we could make it out with this camera. So that was really cool. And there goes another plane, left to right, passing in front of the moon.
Well, you can see what we call the dynamic range of the camera. I mean, we're going through incredible changes in light here. I mean, zooming in on an osprey nest at that is so little light, so it's amazing we can actually see it. And then we move right back to the moon that is so incredibly bright. So I'm doing a lot of changes, adjustments to the camera actually to make all this possible. Otherwise, the moon will be completely overexposed, and it should give you somewhat this creative, artistic look, right? That's what I'm going for here. So it becomes a bit more enjoyable. It's still beautiful now with the clouds. It's really exquisite. It's like someone painted this. If I showed this like this, then people would say, well, that is fake. It's almost too beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, since we crossed over, I was thinking the same thing. Into the artistic talk, I was thinking the same thing. It's like a painting. I removed myself from that artwork. So I took the picture down for the moment, so I'm off camera. But that is beautiful with that low cloud, and it very much looks like a painting. Again, to answer the question, how can you watch this camera? It's oftentimes live. It was 24/7 live streaming for weeks on end for the better part of a few months. So I think it went for a couple of months, and then it restarted up again with another URL. But you can always find this, if it's live, by going to youtube.com/SassePhoto, SASSEPHOTO. If you're in the live chat right now, if you're watching this live, I should say, within the live chat, you see Christian's channel name, Sasse Photo, SASSEPHOTO. So if you just go to that YouTube channel, you'll oftentimes see it right there, this live camera. It's at this time the one and only live camera that's is out there in the wild, so to speak. He also does other live streams where he does programming about science and bald eagles and other wildlife broadcasts as well. So yeah, I highly recommend, and it's just a delight to cross-pollinate our channels here, Christian, where we have familiar faces to us both, too, who are in the chat. This is awesome.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to also work on when I get back to Surrey at the moment, driving home is not possible through Canada, by the way. So I am a bit isolated. So you have to drive through the U.S., actually, through Spokane, Mark, you probably know that it's a long drive. So that's probably going to be my way home. But I do have projects at home too. I think maybe Kit will be delighted when she hears that. I'm going to try and put a live camera next to the hummingbird. We don't have that many hummingbirds. It's not a lot of activities, but when we have them, they're absolutely exquisite. So that's one thing that I'm thinking of, right? And we'll see. I'll come up with other things. I'm not sure about the hummingbird. With the hummingbird camera, whether it's worth it, because they come in sort of every 20 minutes, and we don't have things. If you look at hummingbirds, these exquisite cameras in California. I've seen some, where during you just see feeder after feeder completely full. I can't compete with that, of course. But anyway, I just have a fascination for wildlife, as you know. And anyway, now I'm rambling on. But these are just ideas. What to do live.
Thanks, Christian. Sorry, I stepped on the end of your message there. And for people who might have an interest in hummingbirds, also know that Christian has done recorded videos with a high-speed camera that shoots, I believe, at about 1,000 frames per second. Is that right? Anyway, it results in super slow motion. He's done some fascinating things in super slow motion where we can see hummingbirds feeding and the tongue and everything that as they get the pollen. It's fascinating content. Well, Christian, I think I'm going to wrap it up, but this has been a delight. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you would like to add?
That's it, and you're absolutely right about the hummingbirds. When I get back, I will probably in December. I will do quite a lot on hummingbirds. I'm also going to go to Brazil with my wife Rosanna in January, and we have hummingbirds there, different types of hummingbirds. So I will try and get some footage there too. So lots of things to look forward to. Thank you so much, Mark, for doing this. Wonderful.
My pleasure. Variety and unique. That's what I think of when I think of the work that you produce, Christian. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you very much. And for those of you who have been watching this live and even catching the replay, thank you so much. The approach is I've just been using an app on my phone to speak with Christian. The app is Voxer, V as in Victor, O-X-E-R. Christian and I have been communicating with this for years. It's sort of like a walkie-talkie app. And it's basically our cheat code to get you inconveniently, Christian, into this live broadcast. You're most welcome, Amy, Kit, Ivani. Great having you all here. And of course, Christian, thank you. Stay safe. And I'm sure we'll be connecting again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Mark, for doing this as usual. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
So there you have it. Christian Sasse, once again, just a closing word. His YouTube channel is Sasse Photo. And there's a link in the description beneath this video. Hey, if you like this type of content, what should we call this type of content? Spur of the moment, live streaming with a guest. In this case, focusing, I guess we would say on nature, because we enjoyed the moonrise together and we talked about wildlife and we had a wonderful conversation. And conversations are very much a part of what I like to do. Conversations with guests, conversations with you, where we have engagement, positivity, and learn together and have fun together. So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, you guys. And I hope you have a good evening or good day wherever you might be. If you like it, please hit the like button. If you like it a lot, feel free to subscribe. I'm also on Patreon if you're interested. Patreon.com/beyond 90 seconds, just like my channel. Thanks. Take care, everybody. So long.